So I've been working on other stuff today. I just recorded. It's 5:20 p.m. on Sunday, April 27th. Um, I've spent my day learning about El Salvador, President Bukele, MS-13, and CCOT prison. And I just recorded a 50-minute long podcast episode about those things that'll probably be up late tonight or early tomorrow. But I've been duetting some TikTok videos from people for my YouTube page. You know, Mr. Global did one about the port of Los Angeles is basically empty. I duetted another video from a woman who lives up in Seattle, and she was like, the port of Seattle is empty. I actually have to go to the East Bay this week for something, so I guess I'll get a glimpse of the port of Oakland. When I get to do that, I'll report back. And I duetted another video from somebody that was showing a Fox News report. And they had a reporter on the ground at the Port of Los Angeles, and they were talking about, some statistics about what's coming and what's going to happen. And there's going to be empty shelves, and prices are going to skyrocket, and millions of truck drivers are going to lose their jobs, and dock workers and people who work in the ports are going to be losing all their hours and all of that stuff. And somebody in the comments was just like, what's it going to take? What's it going to take? And, over the last month, my brother and I have gone to a bunch of protests here in San Francisco and Marin County. And all of those protests obviously have been people on the left. And I think the answer to that question is, what's it going to take, is when there are millions of people out in the streets loudly, consistently, on an ongoing basis, protesting against Donald Trump and his policies. And those protesters are going to have to be people who voted for Donald Trump. They're going to have to be people who voted for Donald Trump. I think let me put it this way. I think that's the only thing that has a chance of working. I think we're very close to Donald Trump just outright ignoring orders from the Supreme Court. The Republican legislature, the House and the Senate, are clearly not going to do anything to stop any of this that's happening. And Donald Trump runs his own branch of government. The legislative branch isn't going to do anything. Trump's in charge of the executive branch. The judicial branch is doing its damnedest, but Donald Trump's not complying with orders. He hasn't outright said, fuck you guys, and explicitly said, I'm not going to follow your orders. But that's more or less how he's behaving right now. I think the only thing that has a chance of stopping this is if Trump's own voters turn on him and start protesting at levels across the country and in numbers that even right-wing media is not going to be able to ignore that. I mean, there's a whole slew of new polls that came out over the last few days, because we're coming up to the end of his first 100 days, where the only thing he's accomplished is stuff by executive order, and he's upside down in a huge way on his popularity, on the handling the economy, the things he's doing with immigration, his two on inflation. Those are his three signature items the issues that he ran on for re-election: inflation, the economy, and immigration. A majority of American voters now disapprove in huge numbers of how he's handling all three of those things. That was their entire justification for voting for him. And with what's coming over the next couple of weeks, I think supply chains and shortages, and just think back to toilet paper and paper towels during COVID. I think what's coming over the next month is going to make COVID look like a fucking walk in the park. Prices are going to skyrocket. Supplies are going to dwindle to nothing. And there are going to be empty shelves in every store in the United States. And I think the only thing that has a chance of putting a stop to that is if his own voters turn on him. If that doesn't happen and if that doesn't work, then I'm at a loss. I'm just at a complete loss. I don't know what the fuck we do at that point. I have no idea.